Hey, welcome to Chapter 24 Homework Help. We are going to work on the problems here. This one should be pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and see how many we got. 12, 13. So we got 13 multiple choice problems. The rest are going to be problem assignments. So let's look at number 14 here worth 2.5 points at the recording. It might be changed based on, whatever. For each of the following expenses, select the best allocation base. So these are the ones we need to select from. Let's look at this. Office department expenses of the operating department. Office department expenses. Office department expenses of the operating departments. Skip that one. Advertising expenses of the operating. Okay, so advertising expense. Let's just focus on that. We're looking for sales. Portion of total sales of each operating department. Okay, so that one's going to be A. I don't know why that first one's throwing my brain for a loop. Payroll department expenses. That should be the relative number of employees. Yeah, that one's D. It's got to be D. Full disclosure, sometimes McGraw-Hill comes up with some funky answers that I might fundamentally disagree with. I mean, maybe technically right, but we'll see. So far, I'm all right with these. Purchase department's expenses. Okay, so we're gonna proportion of total purchase orders. The number of employees in department. That one actually should be number of employees in department. That one should be B. Office department expenses. Relative number of employees. I think that's what it should be is D. I don't know, that first one is worded kind of funny. I really am not sure I'm digging on it. That's what kind of is throwing me off. Yeah. Office department expenses of the operating departments. Relative number of employees. I think that should be something more specific because I just don't understand what they're saying there. So whatever. We got it right. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to just figure out which one's right or which one's the other ones that we think that fit more appropriately and go from there. And sometimes that happens. Even on a journal entry, sometimes when we're looking for 4 accounts, we know all the accounts, but we're looking for the 2 numbers. If we can find out that last number, we don't have to calculate that last number. We just have to, do the math on all the other ones with the debits and credits. So sometimes that happens. All right, Macy's store has 3 operating departments, and it conducts advertising that benefits all departments. Advertising costs are $104,000, and sales are as follows. So we're going to allocate this based on sales. So department number 1 has 247,500 sales. The second one has 475,200 sales, and then the last one 267,300. Again, yours might be different, remember. So we're going to go ahead and calculate our percentage here, 247,500, and we're going to divide that by our total number of sales for the entire department. So we got 25% of sales going here. So how we're going to calculate this cost is we're going to take this 104,000 and we're going to allocate 25% to it. So we're going to allocate 26,000 of our advertising costs to the department number 1. You guys can go ahead and do the rest of that on your own. I don't want to do all of this for you guys. You guys need to be able to do some of this, so I'll leave that for you to do. So a retailer pays $180,000 rent each year for its 2-story building, and the space is occupied by these 5 departments. Company allocates $117,000 of total rent space to the first floor and $63,000 to the second floor. It then allocates rent expense for each floor to the departments on that floor based on square feet occupied. Determine the rent expense to be allocated to each department. First floor. So the first floor we have department square footage. It's going to be 1,680. 3120. All right. And then to the first floor is going to be 63,000. Oh no. 117,000. Okay. So we're going to take 117,000. So the company had some reason for breaking it out, and they didn't tell us what that was. But we're going to take this 117. Oh, let's first get the percentage. 1,680 divided by 4,800 square feet. Oops. I just want you to hit equals. I didn't want to do that. 35%. And since we're doing both of these, we know that this is 65 because it equals 100. We're only doing the two. So let's go ahead and calculate that first one. 35% times 117,000. 40,950 is allocated to the jewelry department. Okay. I'll let you allocate the rest of that. You can either take the 117,000, subtract that out, or take 65% of this. You'll get the same number. Now, I'm just curious. All right. This is just my curiosity. I wonder how good McGraw-Hill is. I hope that this equals 4,800, or at least it's less. Because if it's not, then you're going to have a building with more square footage on top than on bottom, which would definitely look funny. Okay, they're equal. All right, I had to check it out. You can do the same thing on the second floor. So I'm going to let you guys look at those. All right, it's looking good. Go ahead and do the rest of that on your own. Let's look at our last problem. Diaz Company of retail store operating two departments, clothing and shoes. Company reports the following indirect expenses for the year. Additional information is here. Allocate indirect expenses to the two operating departments. So this is a little more like it. It's not telling you what you should allocate it on, except it does. We're going to allocate the utilities based on square footage. We're going to allocate the supervisor salaries based on employees. I like the problems personally that doesn't just spell it out for you myself, just because it makes you think, but there's few and far between. 3,800 for clothes. Shoes is 13,200. Okay, that is the total. Their number of employees for clothing is 77. And if I remember right, the other one was 33. Verify. 33, there it is. Okay, let's do the math here. 3,800 divided by 44. 70% of costs will be allocated to here. That means 30% will be allocated to the shoes. 77 divided by 110 is 70%. Look at that. Oh my gosh. It's a perfect split. That's for me. Could be different for you. In fact, I'm pretty sure it will be. So 7,400 times 0.7 is going to give us 5,180. And then 0.7 times 30,000 is going to give us 21,000. So I'm going to show you both methods I talked about in the last problem. On this one, I'm going to take 0.3 and multiply it by 7,400, and that got me 2220. And we see that that equals, so we know that that's good. Or I could have just taken the total amount, which in the second one is 30,000, and subtract out what I've already allocated. And that gives me 9,000. So we equal there. So let's check our work here. You might be asking yourself, why is Brian doing all of this when he didn't do it on all the other ones? And that's because of requirement 2. I haven't shown you how to do the income statement yet, so I want to make sure I do that for you. And I need those numbers in order to do it. So here we go. We're going to prepare the departmental income statements for clothing and sales. Well, we always start off with sales. Sales. And then we are going to subtract out cost of goods sold, and that is going to give us our gross profit or loss. Let's hope for gross profit. Sales was 825.6 for clothes, and shoes was 464.4. Cost of goods sold for clothes was 435. And for shoes, it was 301,860. I want to make sure I did that one right. 860. Yep. Okay. So now we have expenses. We have, let's start off with what we know. Wages, supplies, and depreciation. Wages, supplies, and depreciation. And then we have our allocations. What was it? Rent expense and utilities, right? Waiting for somebody to tell me right. Okay. Let's go up here. We're going to just translate this down here. 120, 10, and 20. And then for shoes, it was 82, 10, 9, and 14. That was too much. 82, 10, 9, and 14. Okay, then what do we calculate on the prior requirement? So we're allocating to the clothing department 5,180 for utilities. 5,180. For the shoes, it was 2220. And then 21,000 for rent. Oh, that was supervisor salaries. I got to change that. Supervisor salaries, not rent. 21,000 for supervisor salaries. Okay, so let's check our work. Keep your fingers crossed. Yay! Complete and correct. Very good. We got it all right. Okay. Whew, that was a relief. I always worry. Not really, I don't, but it's fun. Anyway, so we can see here that even though we had our allocation of these expenses, both the clothing and the shoes departments both ended with income. That's a good situation if you can make that happen. All right, that's your homework. Hopefully this chapter 24 was kind of a reprieve from chapter 23. I know 23 was kind of brutal with the variances and stuff, but hopefully this is kind of more of a more straightforward chapter for you. But any questions though, please let me know. I'm always here for you guys. Please let me know if you have any questions. We will see you in other future videos, but have a great day, great week, great month, whatever, and we'll see y'all later. Take care.